Hi, Bruce. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I know you're busy, so it means a lot for you to take the time out to come on.
My pleasure.
How are you doing? You all right?
Busy. It's great we're out on the road promoting the 45th anniversary of All Mod Cons, our third album. It's going well, and long may that continue.
How many shows have you done so far?
Oh, it's countless. I mean, we do about 80 to 100 shows a year.
Yeah.
I haven't counted them recently, but we're quite busy. Though, having said that, Russell, the lead singer in the band, he had two stents fitted about a year ago now, and I had a cancerous lymph node removed about a year ago. So we've had health warnings. So we've cut down the amount of shows we're doing because there's serious potential illnesses, if not death, making it too dramatic. So we've reduced it down to doing a couple a week, maybe, the odd exception, because we can still do well from just two shows.
Yeah, well, I know you said before we started that you've got a bit of a cold, but how are you both keeping with your health?
Yeah, as I say, we had serious health issues and serious health warning,
Yeah.
which we've dealt with, hopefully. Generally, yeah, fighting fit apart from at the moment taking Lemsips and paracetamol from a cold, but that's, a simple remedy. It's got to run its course, other than that, we're fine.
Well, we'll get back onto the All Mod Cons album and tour soon, but are we okay to just start with your childhood and what it was like growing up in Woking?
Yeah, I lived on a council estate. Shearwater was the name of it, Shearwater Council Estate. I was born there. I was born at home in 126, I believe, Albert Drive. My mum and dad very working class. My mum worked in a baker's. My dad worked for Charrington's. They were a coal distributor, so he was taking the orders door to door, and he also did the football pools. Go around collecting people that had a bet on spot the ball on each week. So yeah, they were very hard, very loving. I was very lucky to have a mum and dad like them. They gave us so much love, and they would do anything for us. And I had a very happy childhood.
What age did you get into music?
Probably sort of 7 or 8, upwards. My brother Derek was an original mod, and I kind of got indoctrinated with what he was putting on the radiogram, as they were known in those days. And there was a lot of Motown, and then obviously got into Small Faces and the Kinks, etc. a bit later on.
What were the early days of the Jam like, and how did you go about joining the band?
Yeah, I joined the Jam around about 74, I think it was. I answered. They put an advert in the local newspaper, the Woking News and Mail, about a guitarist wanted. I went along, and the rehearsals were held above the Red Lion, I think, in Woking, but a long while ago. It might be wrong. I went along rehearsals and audition, rather, should I say, and they obviously thought I was the guy for the job. So I joined up with them as rhythm guitarist. But then a little bit later on, Steve Brooks, who was rhythm stroke lead, decided to leave the band. And Paul was playing bass at that time. We had the old violin bass like McCartney and stuff. We did interview and rehearse quite a few other possible guitarists, but we couldn't find anybody that we thought was either good enough or you wouldn't get on with them in a van for X amount of hours going from gig to gig. Because a very important part of having a band member is that you get on socially as well as musically, because
Yeah,
you live in each other's pockets for quite some time on the road.
I know you said you went for a rehearsal, but an audition kind of thing. But before you went there, did you ever see Paul or Rick around Woking?
No, no. We all went to the same school, Shearwater Secondary Modern. But because I was slightly older, I think a year or two older than Paul and Rick, our paths didn't really cross at school.
Yeah.
So, later when I was looking for a band to join, that I spotted the Jam on the guitarist. I thought I'd give it a go.
What were the early days of the Jam like before you got signed?
Hard work, but fun. We were young, so we could handle late nights and getting up early the next morning to go to work. No, a lot of laughs and a lot of fun times, ridiculous times. But yeah, I don't know really what more to say on that. It was a great vibe with the band. It was just a lot of good fun, and the songs slowly developed.
You said that your brother was a mod, but when the Jam started, they were doing rock and roll covers, and then Paul wanted to take it down the mod route. Were you happy with that?
Yeah, totally happy. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have joined up. Yeah, I like, a kind of second-hand mod, really, I was, but I loved the music that the mods were listening to, and the clothes, etc., was a big part of it, and it was great at shows. That I'm veering off a bit now, but it was great at shows that it was like a big event, not just coming to see the Jam or whatever. It was like meeting up with people that have lived up north or whatever, but had the same sentiment as yourself regarding mod. It was a good time.
The band sort of restarted the mod scene. Was that something you was proud of?
Didn't really think about it like that, to be honest. We were kind of semi-responsible for that resurgence, I guess. Yeah.
In 1977, you signed to Polydor Records. Was that a proud moment for you?
Yeah, it was what most bands probably aim for.
Yeah.
We've been working hard. It was hard living out in Woking, which was considered out in the sticks. To get anybody from a record company like A&R guys, it was difficult to get them to come out of London. So we eventually got on the London pub circuit with the Greyhound and the Red Cow and the Nashville Rooms. And we managed to get the gig at the Marquee, and Chris Parry came along to see us. And he obviously liked what he'd heard. And we were doing demos for them very soon after that, and then signed up. And it's been a very successful partnership.
Yeah, the first single you brought out was In the City. That's not a bad single to start off with.
No, it was the live set, really, and it was the opening number and the live set. And yeah, it was a great song to kick off the evening with. Still goes down the storm now,
Yeah, it's a good song. Are we sorry? Are we okay to talk about all Mod Cons now recording that album?
Yeah, whatever I can remember, yeah.
Was there a bit of pressure on the band after how This Is the Modern World went?
Yeah, I mean, the powers that be at the record company thought This Is the Modern World, the second album, we started to, we all wanted to experiment and move forward each time we've done some recordings. And This Is the Modern World had some acoustic guitars on it, which I think that maybe the audience thought it was too soon, and also the label thought perhaps too soon. I think they would have been happier with This Is the Modern World, In the City too, but we always wanted to push the boundaries and move forward.
Yeah. Was there any tension in the band at this time with Paul kind of falling out of love with writing songs?
No, not at all. I mean, as things grew, success-wise, you did all kind of, Rick, myself and Paul, all sort of venture off and do separate things a bit more. So it was getting a bit more serious as opposed to the early days.
Down in the tube station at midnight was nearly not a song. Can you tell us the story behind that, please?
No, tell me, enlighten me. I don't know.
Oh no, I thought he binged the lyrics and didn't want to do the song, and then somebody persuaded him to do it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now. It was well, what I'm aware of was in the studio. He was not getting the phrasing right or whatever, and we were young and not much patience, But Vic Smith, the producer, managed to talk Paul round that it's a great song and give it another go, and eventually he did, and obviously then it came out.
So like you said before, you're touring this album. Do you still get a buzz playing these songs 45 years later?
Yeah, believe it or not, definitely. I mean, we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't enjoy it. And there's no, what a great kind of, I don't like the word job, but what a great job to have, to be able to get out on stage, play those fantastic songs, and look at the people in, you know, wherever it's 800, 1,000, 30,000, whatever, see the smiles on their faces and the enjoyment that we're giving them is bounced back to us because we feed with each other. So yeah, very proud, and still get a real buzz playing.
What's your favourite song on the album to either listening to it or playing it?
What, and on what cons?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it would vary probably from minute to minute, but at the moment I'm quite enjoying In the Crowd.
Yeah, yeah. Did you think, I know you probably didn't think about it at the time, but would you have thought that the Jam would still be relevant today?
It didn't look much further than a tour ahead, really. You know, you can take anything for granted with the music business. It's pretty fickle. Um, and yeah, who'd have thought 45 years later, I'm out still playing those great songs. But as long as, one, I'm physically capable of doing it, and two, if the audience is still coming, then we'll keep going for a while yet, I think.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's still different generations coming to the gigs. What's that like for you?
It's great. It's obviously, you know, it's people my age, bit less maybe, bringing their sons or daughters or both of them to, you know, to a concert, and they're digging what Dad was playing on the stereo or on his iPod or whatever. You know, it's very healthy to have that new audience coming up, and it will extend the longevity of the band. And those songs, the majority of the songs still sound contemporary now. They really hold their own.
Obviously, the Jam split at their peak, and you and Rick were obviously devastated. Do you think the
Yeah.
split was at the right time, or do you think you could have done more looking back now?
I would have thought it was difficult to tell, really. You don't know where life takes you, do you? Let alone the music business. But I would have thought we had more to offer still at that stage. But you know, when Paul went off and came back with the Style Council, that really wasn't my bag, so to speak. So maybe he thought that, you know, get new players in that are into what he wanted to do next, and that was fair enough. But yeah, I wasn't really a big Style Council fan.
No, no. I'm sure you're really happy with what you're doing now, and I'm sure Paul is and Rick. But over
Yeah,
the years, was there ever a mention of a reunion, or has it never been spoke about?
there's other people that mention it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Paul's laid out his stall for years, you know, that he didn't want to rejoin. You know, I would have loved to have been, say, maybe with, you know, a charity record might have been good, or Live Aid or something. I know Paul was there anyway, but it would have been nice to have offered our services for that. But yeah, you never say never, but you know, it's so long ago now. I don't think there's any chance of that. But having said all of that, you know, I played on Paul's album, etc., and we're still good mates. And I think it's best to leave that as it is.
Well, I was going to say you met up again with Paul in the 2000s after two tragedies in each family. Are you still? And you just mentioned you still mates with him now. So do you see him or speak to him a lot?
And Paul,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, not a lot. You know, I sort of pop round for a pint, borrow a pint of milk or some sugar. um, but I know that he still loves me and I love him, so to speak, you know. And if there was anything that I could do to help him if he was in trouble doing whatever, I would try my best to help out. And vice versa. He was fantastic with my first wife, had cancer, and we were in Israel, believe it or not, with everything going on over there now. But we went to Israel because it was high tech equipment, and it was kind of a last ditch attempt to make my wife well. Paul, and I met a mutual friend of Paul's in the hotel bar one evening in Tel Aviv, and my wife was upstairs resting because she was going through treatment. And when I went back upstairs, when I came downstairs to get a couple of drinks, take them up to the room, Paul had phoned. He'd heard via our mutual friend that I was in Tel Aviv, and explained briefly what had happened to my first wife, Pat. And he called to ask if there was anything he could do, etc. You know, and I was really touched by that.
Was that the first time you spoke to him since the Jam had split?
No, I mean, we had crossed their paths before then, but I was just saying about how genuine he is, and he's a lovely guy. A lovely guy, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And what about Ricky? You still not spoke to him since he left from the Jam?
Pretty much, and through no want of trying, you know, they had a jam exhibition a little while ago, and there was talk of Russ and myself playing some songs acoustically, and maybe we could get Rick involved. And initially, he said he would be up for it, but then finances raised its ugly head, and he didn't want to do it.
No,
So
no.
it's a shame. And then there's been a couple of, as I mentioned before, at Somerset House in London, there's been a jam exhibition, and I was there, Paul was there, we posed for some photographs, and Rick avoided it, you know, and I don't understand why.
No, no, it seems like you can't all be mates at the same time again, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, no, it would have been nice to have seen him, you know, shook his hand and had a little chat, and that would have been it, you know, send a few photographs out on the net to the fans that are still out there, and I'm sure they would have been blown away by seeing the three of us together, you
Yeah,
know. It wasn't to be, I'm afraid.
yeah, it's a shame. So, on to From the Jam, obviously you're doing the tours we spoke about. What else have you got planned for the future after that tour?
But lie down. It just goes on. It just rolls on, and we don't know what's around the corner. We'll keep doing it, I guess. You know, we lead up to Christmas. We're fully booked on. Yeah, we're busy all year round if we want to be that busy. But as I said ages ago, you've got to think of your health
Yeah,
and your family life. You know, so it'll be more of the same, I dare say. Maybe a bit of new material. You know, there's a possibility there. We might record another Foxton Hastings album. I'm not sure.
is there any, I've just seen that you've announced some shows for Let's Rock. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other shows?
Have we?
Have you not? Have you actually not seen it on?
Is it Let's Rock?
Yeah, so yeah, it's Let's Rock in like Shrewsbury.
Oh, is it just one show then?
Shrewsbury and Leeds, I think.
Oh, okay. No, you know more than me.
I don't know what to say about that.
I know we're going to Australia in March, but that's about it.
Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, we're going to do a show with, you know, the other alternative to Let's Rock is Rewind, and we're doing a Rewind show out in Abu Dhabi.
All right. Yeah.
And then we go onwards to Australia. We've done it before, and the March time is great because there's summer over there. Things are warming up, whereas over here it'll be probably quite miserable, or you never know. But yeah, there's always something to do, something happening, which is great.
When you play abroad, what are the fans like? Cause what were they like the first time around with the Jam, and what are they like now?
Still coming, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and the fans, there's a lot, like particularly Australia, there's a lot of expats over there. So it's the closest they'll get to see the Jam reforming, you know, is from the Jam.
yeah,
And attendances are pretty good. Japan was good. We didn't do so much in Europe, but you know, there's enough work there to do anyway.
yeah, yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we finish?
No, you're all right. I've just got to go and blow my nose, bunged up from the cold. But other than that, no, nice to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Obviously, we've said you're busy, so it means a lot for you to take the time out. Thank you for that. Yeah,
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
thank you. See you in a bit.